Formula One teams are terrified of the FIA's aerodynamic testing limits. If an aerodynamicist runs a wind tunnel for just 1 single minute over their legal allocation, the team faces millions in fines and grid penalties. The rule is brutal. The faster your car is on track, the less testing time you get. For years, everyone in the paddock thought this system was unbreakable. Top teams rationed their development hours. They believed the midfield was permanently locked out of unlimited research because no one could afford to cheat the system. They were completely wrong. Look closely at the Haas F1 team. They just doubled their aerodynamic testing capacity overnight. The brilliant wind tunnel loophole Toyota just exploited at Haas is real, and the FIA can't stop it. If you want the raw, unfiltered truth behind the paddock doors before anyone else, hit that subscribe button right now, because this internal war is changing by the minute. When Toyota Gazoo Racing signed their massive partnership with Haas, the rest of the grid assumed it was just a standard financial lifeline. They expected a few stickers on the side pods and maybe a minor simulator upgrade. They completely missed the real threat. Toyota isn't just injecting cash into the American team. They are actively weaponizing one of the biggest loopholes in modern motorsport history. They found a massive blind spot in the external consultancy regulations. Right now, Toyota is running F1-level aerodynamic development completely off the books. How? By hiding Haas floor designs inside their own commercial sports car and World Endurance Championship projects. They are gathering Formula One aero data without technically testing a Formula One car. That data is flowing straight back to the Haas garage in Banbury. The FIA knows exactly what is happening, but they are completely paralyzed. To understand how Toyota pulled this off, you need to look at the absolute fear the FIA instilled in the grid. In modern Formula One, the wind tunnel is everything. You cannot build a competitive car without running hundreds of physical scale models through high-speed air. Before the budget cap, teams like Mercedes and Ferrari would run their wind tunnels 24 hours a day. They essentially bought lap time with brute financial force. To stop this, the FIA introduced the Aerodynamic Testing Restrictions, or ATR. The ATR is a sliding scale designed to punish success. If you win the Constructors' Championship, you receive the lowest allocation of wind tunnel hours and computational fluid dynamics runs. If you finish dead last, you get the most. The FIA enforces this limit with ruthless precision. Every single run is logged, time-stamped, and audited. If a team's aerodynamicist turns the fan on for just a few extra minutes, the governing body slams them hard. The entire grid is terrified of a breach. Teams meticulously plan upgrades months in advance just to avoid wasting a single run. This created a grid-wide gridlock. Top teams couldn't pull further ahead, but midfield teams couldn't afford to maximize their extra hours anyway, because running a wind tunnel is incredibly expensive. Then, Toyota stepped into the picture and realized the FIA left the back door wide open. When Toyota abruptly quit Formula One in 2009, they left behind one of the most advanced aerodynamic facilities on the planet. The Toyota Gazoo Racing Europe headquarters in Cologne, Germany, houses a world-class wind tunnel. Unlike other manufacturers who sold their assets when they left the sport, Toyota kept Cologne fully operational. For 15 years, they used it to develop their dominant World Endurance Championship hypercars, and they regularly rented out to customer racing teams. When Toyota signed the title partnership to create the TGR Haas F1 team, the media focused entirely on the driver development program and the new simulator in Banbury, but the real prize was always Cologne. Haas historically relied on renting time in Ferrari's wind tunnel in Maranello. This meant Ferrari had total visibility over Haas's development path, and Haas was restricted by Ferrari's operational schedule. Toyota immediately cut that cord. They moved Haas's aerodynamic testing program directly to Cologne. On paper, this looks like a simple change of venue. Haas pays for the tunnel time out of their FIA-mandated cost cap, and they log their restricted hours just like everyone else. But Toyota isn't just a landlord. They are an active technical partner, and that changes the legal classification of every single thing that happens inside that building. Here is exactly where the loophole activates. The FIA rulebook strictly prohibits Formula One teams from using external contractors to bypass their aerodynamic testing limits. You cannot simply hire a third-party engineering firm to run unlimited CFD tests and hand you the data. But Toyota Gazoo Racing is not a third-party engineering firm. They are a massive, independent automotive manufacturer with their own global racing programs. Toyota spends hundreds of millions developing sports cars, hypercars, and advanced aerodynamic concepts for their road car division. The FIA has absolutely zero jurisdiction over Toyota's internal research and development budget. So what happens when a Toyota engineer in Cologne decides to test a brand new, highly complex ground effect floor geometry? What happens if that floor geometry coincidentally matches the exact dimensional regulations of the Formula One rulebook? The FIA cannot do a single thing about it. Toyota can legally claim they are researching advanced underbody aerodynamics for a future hypercar or a high-performance track day vehicle. They can spin up the Cologne wind tunnel and run it for 24 hours straight. They can test 100 different front wing end plate designs. They can burn millions of dollars in electricity and carbon manufacturing. Because the testing is officially logged under Toyota's commercial R&D budget, it does not count toward the Haas F1 team's ATR limit. It does not trigger the FIA cost cap. It exists completely off the books. Running the tests is one thing, but how does the data actually get to the Haas Formula One car without triggering an FIA audit? It happens through the personnel pipeline. The core of the TGR-Haas partnership is based on human resource development. Toyota has legally embedded dozens of their own Gazoo racing engineers, aerodynamicists, and mechanics directly into the Haas trackside operation. The stated goal is for these Toyota employees to learn the intense operational workflows of Formula One. But these engineers are a two-way bridge. When Haas runs the physical car on a Grand Prix weekend, the embedded Toyota engineers analyze the real-world telemetry. They look at the tire degradation. They measure the exact aerodynamic stalling points of the chassis. Those engineers then return to their desks. They communicate with the Toyota factory in Cologne. The Cologne facility takes that real-world F1 data and uses it to calibrate their commercial sports car wind tunnel tests. Toyota runs unlimited testing to find the optimal aerodynamic solution. Once the solution is found, the embedded Toyota engineers simply suggest a new design direction to the Haas technical leadership. Haas then officially uses a tiny fraction of their legal FIA wind tunnel allocation to rapidly validate a design that Toyota has already perfected in the shadows. Think about how devastating this is for the competition. While rival teams are agonizing over single-digit percentage tweaks to their underfloor vortex structures, Haas receives pre-solved aerodynamic equations. Haas doesn't waste time testing failed concepts. Every time they turn on their official wind tunnel allocation, they are simply confirming an answer that Toyota has already provided. They are achieving a 100% success rate on their upgrades because the trial and error process is being secretly funded by a Japanese automotive giant. This loophole has completely shattered the political stability of the F1 paddock. Mercedes, Ferrari, and McLaren are absolutely furious. They are spending millions on compliance lawyers, ensuring they don't accidentally breach the cost cap by a single dollar. They are agonizing over every single hour in the wind tunnel, forced to compromise their development programs. Meanwhile, they are watching Haas, the team that routinely finished at the bottom of the constructor standings, show up to race weekends with perfectly optimized aerodynamic packages. The top teams are actively lobbying the FIA to intervene. They want the governing body to ban any technical partnership where the partner owns their own independent wind tunnel. But the FIA is paralyzed. How do you write a regulation that dictates what Toyota Motor Corporation is allowed to test for their own commercial road cars? You can't. The FIA is a sporting body. They do not have the legal authority to audit the research and development division of one of the largest automotive manufacturers on the planet. Unless they can find an explicit email proving Toyota handed Haas a completed F1 CAD file for free, they have absolutely no proof of collusion. Toyota has engineered the perfect legal shield. They didn't break the aerodynamic testing restrictions. They simply outsourced them to a corporate entity that the FIA cannot touch. This means the entire concept of the FIA cost cap is fundamentally broken. The cap was designed to level the playing field by limiting physical spending within the walls of an F1 factory, but it never accounted for a corporate ghost program operating entirely outside the sport's jurisdiction. If Toyota builds a high-performance sports car suspension component that perfectly mirrors F1 load paths, and their embedded tracksiders suddenly bring that conceptual knowledge into the Haas briefing rooms, no physical intellectual property has changed hands. It's pure, legal human expertise. Gene Haas didn't just secure a sponsor, he secured unlimited, unregulated development data, and the rest of the grid is powerless to shut it down. The entire foundation of the Formula One cost cap relies on the belief that the FIA can see everything. The governing body assumes that if a team is developing a car, the paper trail will eventually show up in an audit. Toyota Gazoo Racing completely destroyed that assumption. They realized that the FIA's jurisdiction stops the exact second you step outside the Formula One paddock. By utilizing their massive Cologne facility and hiding F1-specific aerodynamic development inside commercial sports car projects, they have given Haas a massive, completely legal advantage. While the heavyweights of the sport are forced to ration their wind tunnel hours and beg the FIA for extra testing allowances, Toyota is running the fan in Germany on a permanent loop. They have turned the smallest team on the grid into an aerodynamic powerhouse without triggering a single sporting penalty. The power dynamic is shifting rapidly, and the traditional grid structure is melting away under the weight of corporate legal engineering. Pay close attention to the Haas garage. The new floor upgrades they are bolting onto the car didn't come from a restricted F1 development cycle. They came from a shadow program that the FIA cannot legally touch. Is it fair for Toyota to exploit this external consultancy loophole, or is the FIA going to be forced to rewrite the entire aerodynamic rulebook to stop them? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, let's talk about it.